Stihl MS500i. One owner, 3 chainsaws, and they're all broken. Let's dive in and see if we can get 1 or 2 of these back to him today. So I've gone ahead and I've plugged all 3 saws into my MDG scanner. Now, most people at home don't have one of those, but we'll go over the numbers anyway. So number 1 saw, which is this one here, has 176 hours of runtime. Successful starts, 4,653. It's been turned off with the button 4,000 times. It's shut off without the button 500 times. It's been pulled 8,900 times. And its max RPM was 14,985 at 25 hours. There's a graph that shows how it's fueling. This saw checked right in the middle. There was no faults and the electrical test passed. Number 2, the full wrap saw. There's its numbers here. 15,000 RPM, it hit at 47 hours. And the fuel settings were good, it passed, and it was never plugged in. It's never been plugged into an MDG scanner. Number 1 has, it was probably a year or 2 ago. And the 3rd, that's the saw with the bar on it. 62 hours, and so on and so on. It hit 14,925 RPM. It is showing the computer is giving extra fuel at idle, although the saw is not here for a running issue. And it has a bark box. Or is it an Egan straight shot? I believe it's an Egan straight shot. So there are numbers on these 3 saws. First saw, quick look over. I see we've got an issue right here. One handle screw is popped out of the handle itself. It's like an insert. I've seen this before. We got some noise. So this was said to have a noise while running. Got a broken fuel cap. We're missing an oil cap. Without even starting this saw, I can hear some noise behind this clutch cover. So I don't think we're going to take it outside to run it. I don't think there's a point. But we will take this clutch cover off. And this is the way it was dropped off to me. And that's a problem. Our drum is missing a piece. It's broken. The brake band is sticking out. This is bad. This is pretty bad. We got a bar stud sticking out. Oh boy. I think it was time to replace that. Imagine. Do we have any crank bearing problems? Oh yeah, see, here's our problem. This is what happens if you let the clutch springs go too long. So this was probably just rattling against this drum for too long. The shoes were coming out without the saw being revved up and just making lots of heat. That's my guess, at least. I'm just going to blow this dust off so we can get these screws out and give a good look under here. Pretty filthy in there. So we're going to take some of this stuff apart and look for damage. I'm going to get that spring out of there. It's a safety issue. So, well, that clutch was loose. Not good. Our oil driver is up. That needs to be replaced. It's pretty worn down. So not long until this thing breaks or just stops moving. These brake bands, just 90 degrees, they pop right out. And this thing is in terrible condition. Burnt areas, no good. So I need to clean this area up and look for any crankcase damage. There is a bit here and there. It looks okay. We're not missing any serious chunks that hold the brake band. No, we're missing a piece there. This isn't great. Let's take care of this bar stud first. There is the installer. It's got a little ball inside on a spring, so you just tighten it up and back it off. Pretty awesome little tool. Not sure why that was pulled out. Our noise is gone. Well, let's put this back together and see if everything works. We are missing a little bit of pieces of the crankcase. Not ideal. Let's see what we have. We do have a handle. I do have a clutch. I do have the oil driver and a sprocket kit and the bearing. One brake band. All T27 hardware for the handle. This could probably be fixed with like a sleeve through it and a nut and bolt if you were a little handy and had some time. It's just this will come out. There's our insert. That's just riveted in. And if you want to tinker around with that, it could be fixed. Two little plastic tabs the handle sits in. That's why it won't just slide out. So you got to kind of pull the tank away. Don't pull too hard. That should be cleaned up in there, shouldn't it? Oh yeah, that's filthy. Better clean that out. I'm going to blow some air into this plastic mount. Just clean that up a bit first. It's one of the easier handles to change. Nah, we'll leave that sticker. Wish I would have took that off earlier, but at least now we'll know it was replaced. Worm gear. Little oil on the threads. Brake band. Just like that. Our little washer on before the clutch goes on. Just make sure top is facing out. Clutch. I went to restock this and I noticed it's on back order. I don't understand. That's not good. Needle bearing. Bit of grease on that. Not too much. You don't want it to fling off onto the clutch and stuff. Just a light coating, I always find. Drum kit. Always a residue in there, and I like just giving it a clean up. Rim, washer, and clip. Brake spring. Cover. He's up for a new air filter too. Give a look at that spark plug. Not too bad. We're going to replace this, the fuel filter, and that air filter. CMR6H. Yeah, fuel cap leaks, whether it's the O-ring or all that dirt jammed in there. Look at that. Look at that. This is just a non-maintained saw. It happens all the time. Oh, that's filthy. Oh boy. I'm gonna pour a little bit more fuel in there just to give it a rinse. It's not here for a service, but it needs it. Yeah, we'll look at that later once the dirt settles. I'm gonna go give this a blowout with some compressed air before I change that filter. So there's the problem. This was probably used as an oil cap, and you can see that little burnt spot right there. Could be causing this thing not to seal up. So I only have one cap. It's the same cap for the fuel and oil. If you look on the parts list, it's called an 0533, but this is the new part number. So if your dealer can't find it, this is the part number you need. Something wrong with Stihl's system, but you need an 0563. I'm just going to cut that off with a knife and use this one on the oil side. Cut away from your fingers and the O-ring. Change that fuel filter out. Part number. So 4 zeros, 350, 3518. I'm going to pull the recoil now. Once I start, I can't stop. There's just too much dirt. We'll give this a clean up with some air. This thing is supposed to stay into this, and it no longer does because... Oh, there we go. Wonder why it fell out. Don't know. Doesn't fit very well. I'll go give this a clean up. Air fins around the flywheel. Be right back. Okay, update. We have a broken crankcase. Wish I seen that earlier. I didn't do a thorough enough look over this saw. That is a piece of the crankcase. Broken twice. We got a crack here. And this is all supposed to be attached to that. I'm going to have to talk to the owner about that one. Wish I pulled that apart and noticed that earlier. Throw it back together anyway. Yeah, look at that. What up? Oh, I see, because the handle kind of hides. The recoil hides that because it holds it together. It does hold it together, although I don't like it. Oh boy. So this saw, the way it is, needs a whole crankcase, basically. Just the damage on this side. Well, it's not getting a new air filter now. We don't want to put anything we don't need on it, do we? So I guess this saw will be a nice backup saw, basically. I guess we'll go outside and give this thing a start. And if it starts, I'll throw a bar and chain on it and we will go do some test cuts. I really wish I would have seen that broken crankcase, so we're going to have to talk about that and might be just pulling parts back off of this saw. I suppose it happens. So I got that recoil off, our top cover. Let's take a look at things. Flywheel. There's our magnet that runs the stator. There's our stator that runs all the electronics of the saw. One of our sensors right here, I can't remember, pressure sensor, measures the pressure in the bottom of the crankcase. So I said we could run it like this. Bad idea, really bad idea. I should have known better. So there's our crankcase piece that's broken. Nasty break. This is doing quite a few things. Recoil, an AV screw, top cover mount. So this piece is doing a lot. Another problem here, we'll get this plastic out of the way. There's a little plastic guard here. And it's guarding right there. Actually, I'm going to go clean this up with some air. Be right back. So we've got our piece of crankcase that sits just like this. We've got a problem here. This piece of the crankcase could start ripping through the wiring harness, which is right there. We don't really want to do that. We don't want to send this out like this. So I'm going to talk to the owner about what he wants to do. Use the JB weld. And maybe filling this whole thing right up here with it. And maybe a Band-Aid here. Maybe some kind of really small Band-Aid here. Screw hole, some sort of metal plate. No, nothing right there. It's too close to the flywheel. So we got two more saws here to fix. I'm going to leave this one just like it is, and let's move on to the next saw. I would like to add something about this saw, considering it has 176 hours, 8,910 pulls to start. I've read people don't like this saw because it has a primer bulb. So, if my math is correct, people that have used this saw have read the manual that you're to purge it. Sorry, it's a purge bulb. I don't really care, purge, prime. Purge it 8 times for every start. This thing should have been pushed in 64,000 times. Maybe I'm not a mathematician. I'm going to calculate that. So this should have been primed 71,200 times. Let's just call it 50,000 times. Let's just call it 30,000 times. Looks good to me. 500i, full wrap. And it's here for the same thing, noise, while trying to start. Well, let's just dig right into this side of the saw. Not good. Look at the wear on that surface. That's the surface the bearing rides on. It's all chewed right up. And we got clutch spring problems again. The reason I changed the clutch on that last saw, we didn't talk about it, but look at those shoes. Not good. Yeah, some of you were probably wondering why I just didn't change the spring. Well, that's why. No good. We have that same issue. Those clutch shoes are pretty bad. See the taper? That thing's been running with this worn out drum way too long. So as the chain tensions, this drum is running, wow, this is exaggerated, but the drum would be running something sort of like that because of this is kind of wallowed out here, and the bearing is probably worn down a bit also. Crankshaft, we'll just hope is still good. Looks good to me. This clutch bearing maintenance is pretty important. I don't think this saw has ever been touched. We need a clutch. We're going to steal it off that saw there. Let's hope there's no broken crankcase here also. Oil driver, we need to replace that. Everything looks good. I'm going to pull these covers off and give this a clean up. That full wrap is in the way. Yeah, it's pretty dirty in there. Get that big build up. Little springs unhooked for the chain brake. This little spring, I can never remember what that's called, but it's called a spring. I'll have to hook that back up. Looks okay otherwise. We don't have all that damage. And go give that a cleanup. So we get that spring hooked up again. Got it. And I wonder if that dirt buildup is what kicked that little spring off. It's part of the chain brake system. We'll get that cleaned up a little bit better. At least there's no damage to anything. So this thing is good to go back together with some new parts. Okay, so the full wrap handle gets in the way of a lot of things. Oil driver. There's a new clutch. We took that off of that first saw I worked on. And there's the difference. That's quite the difference, isn't it? No noise. Lots of noise. It's just worn out. Always check them. Make sure they're not tapered like that. That's horrible. You can see our wear pattern. It was right in the middle. I think that's good. Torque to spec. Line up with our oiler arm. Washer. Clip. Brake spring. Cover. It's good to go. Looks like a decent air filter. I guess we can start her up. Well, there we go. Was not here for a running issue, just a noise while trying to start it, which would have been that worn sprocket, clutch, etc. We'll check the fuel tank, maybe change the fuel filter. Obviously, they don't check this saw often. Remember the fuel from the first 500i? So, and there's the fuel out of the first saw. Not too good. That filter, all this stuff would have been gathering along that fuel filter while it was running. Pretty bad. Lots of junk in here also. Very dirty. Same thing. You can see the dirt in there. Better than the last saw. I'll do the same thing, clean this tank out. More dirt. I'm going to go blow this tank out with some compressed air. Change out that fuel filter. Next step, pull this cover off, give it a clean up. Hopefully I don't find a broken crankcase. I'll take this one outside and we'll do a few test cuts with it also. Kind of filthy. Lots of crud on that cylinder. Needs a good cleanup. I'm gonna give that a spray with some degreaser and give it a cleanup. Oh, that's good. No broken crankcase. That's great. Oh, isn't that the universal sign for it's had a dull chain and somebody's been pushing on the saw? For the 500 anyway. Like, it's squeezed hard and these guys end up touching and wearing. Oh, we'll clean this up. I'm going to revisit the dirt out of that saw one more time. Look at that stuff. Very fine. That's not even all of what was in that tank. I got his bar and chain on the 500i full wrap. Start it up, warm it up, and then we'll make a test cut or two. And this is how they drop their saws off. That is dull. If the guy who owns this saw is watching, you know who you are. You gotta tell your guys to sharpen. Well, let's go sharpen this, retry. Well, that 2-in-1, I like those files. There's other ways to file that are probably better. The 2-in-1 gets it sharp. Maybe you won't win any chainsaw races, but let's see what kind of difference. I did 2-3 swipes around the whole chain. I didn't really look. I'm sure it's fine. That works better with that chain. And the last saw, the third 500i. This is the loud muffler edition. Now I think this is a Egan straight shot. We'll get to see how loud that thing is later. I think it's pretty loud. So I think this is just here for a chain brake issue. Well, let's see what's wrong. Not bad, but it needs to be looked at. I was going to say we need to remove the brake spring, but somebody has beat us to it. And there's no pieces of it. And there was lots of dirt in those screw holes in the heads of the screws, so it hasn't. They've been using it like this with no brake. I don't recommend that. Other than dirty, I don't see too much problem. That's a problem, all that in there. So other than missing a brake spring, and we'll see if the drum's good. I think it needs replacing. I'm going to guess on it. When we get it apart, we'll find out. Yeah, sprocket. Not as bad as the last one. It's very, it's not smooth in there. Clutch springs. We got to do clutch springs on this one. I am hoping that's all it is. I only have the one clutch, so this one could be down. I don't really like it. It's not as bad as the other ones, but it's still pretty bad. It's filthy. We'll give that a quick clean up with some air. It's been a couple days. My parts are here to fix the third saw. Rim sprocket kit, oil driver, bearing. We got clutch shoes and clutch springs. We have to repair the clutch. I wasn't able to get a whole clutch. We'll probably be okay. I really don't like those shoes. They've got some pretty good wear on them. And where this saw is going to, I don't like this. This is a heavy use saw. Safety first. Safety second. I should have put these on already. Take our retainers off the shoes. This isn't too bad. You cannot buy this piece separately. Clutch shoes, there's the part number. I don't know if it matters which way they go. We'll just put the writing all to one side. Both sides say off. Okay, clutch springs. There's your part number. Nice flat shoes. Brake band. Oil driver. Washer. Top facing out. Clutch. They shorted us a washer. Thanks, Stihl. So new clip, especially on a saw that's heading out to the field to work. This guy doesn't want to bring this saw back anytime soon for anything silly like a clip. Oh my. I almost forgot the brake spring. I can't believe I caught myself. Let's go grab brake spring. And I even had it in stock. That's great. So the easiest way to do this, set the brake forward and then pull the spring on. Just like that. Wear plate. We'll just have a quick look at the rest of this saw. Filthy. Give that a couple extra winds. One more. It should be able to pull its handle up on its own. Another. And that's perfect right there. No more than that, no less than that. And then you know the spring won't bind up. That's for a Stihl, considering the rope is the right length. Lots of filth on the cylinder, everywhere in here. Dump the fuel and see what we have. It's pretty dirty in that tank. Lots of floaties. All kinds of debris. So clean that tank out also. Blow that tank out before I switch the fuel filter. Time to change. Look at the color difference. It's time to change that when it's gone. It's lost its orange color. Well, this saw here only has 62 hours of runtime. It's never been here. The loud muffler on this one. Well, I'm going to go give this a good cleanup with some air, get it back together. I will meet you outside for some cutting. It's our third and final saw. We'll just give a couple test cuts with it. Well, the computer did say there was a running issue with this saw. At idle, it was over fueling, so just like it ran out of gas there. This video's probably getting pretty long already. Well, we're not going to keep cutting with that. We don't want to damage it. We have one saw ready to go, one with a broken crankcase that does run, and one saw that would run, but as you've seen outside, it died right after the cut. So we'll have to figure out what's wrong with this one, either on this channel or the Married with Small Engines channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.